event. Radio Algeria International, our voice in the world.
This is the English service of Radio Algeria International. It's time for the news.
The Algerian-Mauritanian Business Council has called at the end of its 9th session in Nouakchott for the signing of preferential agreement between the two countries covering a range of products. And African countries are celebrating today Africa Day, corresponding to May 25th of each year, coinciding with the creation of the Organization of the African Unity in 1963, which became the African Union in 2002. And as UNRWA warned that children of Gaza were enduring unimaginable suffering, sustained Israeli airstrikes today hit the territory and wounded several Palestinians. And those were the major developments. Now the full news edition. I'm Asia Bakar. Good afternoon. The Algerian-Mauritanian Business Council has called at the end of its 9th session in Nouakchott for the signing of preferential agreement between the two countries covering a range of products, the acceleration of the creation of an ad hoc joint technical committee, the removal of all obstacles hindering access for humanitarian or for Mauritanian and Algerian goods to the markets of both countries, and the signing of a roadmap transport agreement between the two countries. The recommendations of the 9th session of the Council, which opened Friday, were announced during a meeting attended by the Minister of Trade and National Market Regulation, Tayyip Zitouni, the Mauritanian Minister of Trade and Tourism, Ms. Zainabou Ahmedna, and the Algerian Ambassador to Mauritania. The Council also recommended streamlining financial transactions between the two countries, establishing legal frameworks and health procedures for the import and export of livestock and livestock products, while ensuring that the authorities support companies in both countries in the administrative procedures related to their commercial activities. In its recommendations, the Council called on Algerian and Mauritanian companies to participate in the various economic and commercial activities organized in the two countries, to strengthen and activate the maritime route, linking them by removing all obstacles hindering its regularity, and to accelerate the pace of construction of the road linking Tindouf and Zourat. The recommendations also focus on opening direct maritime routes between the various Algerian and Mauritanian cities, with a proposal to develop a water trade between the two countries as a tool for developing border areas. The Council welcomed on this occasion the colossal efforts made by the two governments to develop economic relations, emphasizing the importance of working towards achieving the expected objectives in this area by exploiting the opportunities offered. During this meeting, the Investment Promotion Agency in Mauritania presented presentations on the investment climate in the country. The 9th session of the Algerian-Mauritanian Business Council was chaired by Youssef Al-Ghazi on the Algerian side and Mohamed Al-Atal Wold Batah on the Mauritanian side, on the sidelines of the Algerian Products Fair, which is being held in Nouakchott. And now, entrusted by the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, the Secretary of State to the Minister of Foreign Affairs in charge of the national community abroad, Mr. Sofiane Chayeb, has taken part in the inauguration ceremony of the President of Ecuador, Mr. Daniel Noboa Zine, in the capital, Quito. On this occasion, the Secretary of State conveyed the President's greetings to the Ecuadorian President-elect and his best wishes for success in fulfilling his noble duties, with further progress and prosperity for the brotherly Ecuadorian people. The inauguration ceremony was attended by representatives of 93 states and international and regional organizations, including heads of state and government, as well as senior officials. The 37-year-old businessman who won the re-election in April had just completed an initial 18-month term after winning snap elections in late 2023. His new term will run through 2029. Earlier, Noboa pledged to bring a new approach to governance, stressing that he wants to break cycles, emphasizing the need for lasting change. He said there will be no truce with crime, vowing to continue crackdowns on drug trafficking, illegal weapons and smuggling. You still listen to Radio Algeria International. The Minister Delegate to the Minister of National Defense and Chief of Staff of the National People's Army General Said Shangriha has supervised the official installation ceremony of General Aitor Rabi Abdelkader as the Director General of Internal Security on behalf of the President of the Republic, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune. The installation ceremony took place at the headquarters of the General Directorate of Internal Security, and it was an opportunity for the Army General to meet with executives of this directorate, during which he gave them practical instructions and guidance, particularly regarding rigor and in fulfilling the heavy missions entrusted to them. And now, Lieutenant General Said Shangriha, Minister Delegate to the Minister of National Defense, Chief of Staff of the National People's Army, has supervised a national forum entitled The African Sahel Security and Development Challenges in light of geopolitical tensions in the region at the National Army Club in Beni Messous here in Algiers. The Lieutenant General has made a speech at the beginning of the forum's activities in which he affirmed Algeria's commitment to its established principles based on good neighborliness and respect for the sovereignty and unity of states, as well as its preference for peace approaches based on dialogue in resolving crises. The General affirmed Algeria's constant keenness to provide assistance in to neighboring countries through military cooperation programs. You still listen to Radio Algeria International, and African countries are celebrating today Africa Day, corresponding to May 25th of each year. Africa Day is an opportunity to stress that Algeria, under the leadership of the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, continues to play a leading role within the African Union and to consolidate its position as a leader in Africa by launching a number of initiatives designed to meet the geopolitical, security, and economic challenges facing the continent. Africa Day coincides with the creation on May 25, 1963 of the Organization of African Unity, which became the African Union or AU in 2002. Since then, Algeria has never ceased to reaffirm its pride in belonging to Africa and its constant commitment to the continent's interests. Algeria also contributed to the independence of a number of states and the elimination of apartheid in South Africa, and was able to conduct numerous mediations to resolve conflicts. Today, it is driven under the leadership of the President of the Republic by a constant concern to continue the collective African effort and consolidation of achievements, in addition to promoting progress at all levels. On the security front, Algeria has constantly launched initiatives to resolve conflicts, restore peace and security, and combat terrorism, violent extremism, and cross-border organized crime in its neighborhood and throughout the African continent. Algeria continues to fulfill its duties at continental level in its capacity as leader and coordinator of the AU in the fight against terrorism and violent extremism, and an eminent responsibility entrusted to the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, by the African heads of state and government. And to the Middle East now, as UNRWA warned that children of Gaza were enduring unimaginable suffering. Sustained Israeli airstrikes today hit the territory, killing and wounding several Palestinians. The news agency Wafa stated that at least 10 people were killed in the attacks, which targeted the northern and central areas of Jabalia and Nusayrat, as well as Khan Yunis in the southern part of the enclave. This brought to 38 the number of Palestinians killed for the past 24 hours, mainly women and children, whereas 200 others have been wounded. In this respect, UNRWA stressed the necessity to protect the children of Gaza, whom it said are suffering from hunger and are displaced and confronted to blind attacks. In a message posted on social media, the UN agency called for an end to be put to the Israeli attacks targeting the civilian population, which is already facing a suffocating humanitarian blockade. You still listen to Radio Algeria International, and according to UNICEF, over 950 children have been killed since the Israeli occupying forces imposed a blockade on the Palestinian territory over 2 months ago. In this connection, the director at Human Rights Watch in the occupied Palestinian territories, Omar Shakir, affirmed that the new Israeli military operations marked a new step in the escalation of Israel's war crimes, ethnic cleansing, and genocide perpetrated against the Palestinians, while recalling that the Israeli government is bound by international law.
Israel's new military offensive, Gideon's Chariot, amounts to an abhorrent escalation in the Israeli government's crimes against humanity, ethnic cleansing, and acts of genocide against the Palestinian people. The Israeli government is bound by the laws of war to discriminate between civilians and combatants, to not engage in disproportionate, indiscriminate attacks. Yet the Israeli government has repeatedly carried out unlawfully indiscriminate attacks. They have reduced much of Gaza's homes, schools, and hospitals to rubble. It has carried out attacks that have killed tens of thousands of Palestinians. The new plan would destroy, according to Israeli officials, what remains of Gaza's civilian infrastructure.
Meanwhile, massive protests have been staged notably in Sweden and Germany to press for an end to Israel's war on Gaza. This came as Indonesia today condemned the atrocities perpetrated in Gaza that, as it put it, testifies the double standard policy adopted towards the Palestinians. Addressing a meeting in Kuala Lumpur, Indonesia's foreign minister stated that such a policy is a result of the erosion of scared character of the international law. To Venezuela now, the people today went to the polls to choose their representatives and governors amid reinforced security. In this respect, more than 400,000 security forces have been deployed to ensure the smooth running of the elections. We contacted the chargé d'affaires of Venezuela's embassy in Algiers, Gabriel Torrealba, who underscored the importance of today's elections and detailed the measures taken by the government.
The Venezuela government always guarantees security. In this occasion, 71 foreign and local mercenaries were arrested with weapons and bombs in an attempt to destabilize the electoral process. Since early in the morning begins the electoral process, which allow us to choose the 24 governors and 280 deputies of the National Assembly. This process is very important for us because it's the first time that the governor in our new state, Guayana Esequiba, will be elected.
According to opinion polls, Venezuela's Unified Socialist Party, led by Nicolas Maduro, is set to win the elections, whose results will be released later today. His party is already controlling 19 out of the 23 country states and holds 253 out of the 277 seats in parliament. And to Yemen now, about 30 non-governmental organizations operating in the country have called on the international community to take immediate action to relieve millions of vulnerable people. In a joint communique, they stress the necessity to take coordinated measures to avert irreversible damages at a time when major challenges threaten to compromise the progress achieved and plunge millions of people into a precarious situation throughout the country. You still listen to Radio Algeria International, and back to the country now. Algerian filmmaker Mohamed Lakhdar Hamina, who passed away on Friday at the age of 95, was buried at the Sidi Yahya Cemetery here in Algiers in the presence of a number of senior officials and artists. The Speaker of the Council of the Nation, Mr. Azouz Nasri, who attended the funeral, sent a message of condolences to the family of the great filmmaker and war veteran Mohamed Lakhdar Hamina. He said late Mohamed Lakhdar Hamina was a symbol of irrational loyalty and committed artistic creativity, who immortalized the glorious November Revolution through moving picture. Meanwhile, the Minister of Culture and Arts, Zouhair Belalou, affirmed that Algeria has lost in the person of the great filmmaker Lakhdar Hamina, an iconic figure of the seventh art and a renowned film director who received prestigious international awards. He recalled that the deceased was a great filmmaker and war veteran who inscribed his name in golden letters on the Algerian and international culture and cinematic scene, reaffirming in these circumstances his ministry's desire to restore the former glory of Algerian cinema. You still listen to Radio Algeria International. That's it for our news bulletin. And on the occasion of Africa Day, I invite you to listen to this special program compiled and presented by my colleague Mariam Barshi.